Hello, everyone. And hello, Elena.
Hi.
I'm Haley, and together we run the Girl Dinner Book Club podcast.
We do.
And we are doing our second episode of Bride today. We didn't know it was going to take 2 episodes until we got into the last one and realized that we couldn't shut up about it. So here we are.
It's so good. It's so fun. I just love it. I love all her little like vampire stuff. I'm really digging like her relationship with Lo, the whole world. Like I'm about it. I really love this book.
I'm here for it as well. And also, I said this in the last episode, but God, I love the way Ali Hazelwood writes sassy female protagonists.
Yeah, it's very good. I'm excited to pick up one of her next books as soon as possible, which is probably going to be that one that you said. What was it? Like the hypothetical?
Oh, the love hypothesis.
Oh, the love hypothesis. That's the one where Kylo Ren eats her whole titty.
Yeah. that is in fact that one.
Okay, yeah. Cool. That will be the one I will be reading.
There's also a new one she put out, and it's like a young adult. It's her first young adult romance, and it's called Check and Mate, and she's like a chess.
Oh, interesting! Little chess,
or like a chess prodigy. Yeah,
you can get behind that. I love.
There's not really anything like super spicy in it, from what I've heard, because it's young adult, which is like a little bit of a bummer. But
yeah, we're losing interest, but that's okay. But that's fine. That's fine. So at the end of our last episode, Lo and Misery were having like their little heart-to-heart conversation on the roof, and he was like telling her, about like mating bonds and dominance, and she's talking about her friend Serena and how they grew up together. And then at the end of all of this, she convinces Lo to let her go with him to Emery's house, and Emery is the mate of the previous alpha, Roscoe, who sucks. They are going to go over there and hopefully throw some spyware into her electronics to see, if they can get some solid proof that she is the one behind the Loyal's actions. So that is where we are picking it up. Haley, if you want to get us rolling.
Yeah, so literally the last thing we talked about was the fact that she needed to be marked, and we're carrying on from there. So they pull up at a private airport, and Misery is just like staring dumbfounded at this jet that pulls up and is like, honey, are we rich?
She's like looking over. I imagine she like takes her sunglasses down a little bit and like looks over the top of them.
Yeah, doesn't it say she does that too?
I think she does.
Yeah, she's got like one of those headscarves from like old, like, I don't know, like 50s, 60s movies where they ride in convertibles and
right, yeah.
And he's like, no, we're just banned from most airlines, darling.
But yeah, they still have a private jet. So like,
well, he's flying the private jet. They own the private jet.
No, I know, but I'm just still saying, like, he's still rich. Like, he's like, no.
Oh, yeah,
also,
no.
Like, they're obviously rich.
They definitely have money, for
it's
sure.
It's like that one video of, like, David Beckham's wife who was like, yeah, and, like, our dad had to, like, take us to school. And he's like, what did he drive you to school in? And she's like, a Rolls Royce.
I love that video. She's, like, trying to sound like she's relatable and... and grew up middle class when she very clearly did not.
Oh my gosh. Okay, continue.
His seconds and the other wares are like not super excited that of all people, he's taking the vampire with him. But Lo's like, fuck you, I'm alpha. Alex helps her with like all of the tech she's gonna need and really drills it into her head, like, you need to protect your alpha. And she's like, he's not my alpha. And he's like, you married him. That makes him your alpha, blah, blah.
Yeah. Which, could you imagine if anybody else came up to you and was like, you better protect your man. He's your alpha.
Yeah, I'm like, listen, my man is my partner, but if you're trying to tell me he's my boss, absolutely not. And then Anna's like, I want this and I want this, and you need to steal the L sign from the L from the Hollywood sign. L for Liliana. Like, they don't know their alphabet. She's so cute. So they get on the plane and she's like, yeah, so like, where's the pilot? And Lo just plops his ass down in the pilot seat. And he's like, right here. She's like, of course, you can do everything.
Yeah, you can fly a plane too. That's great. Okay,
great. Show off. Yeah. When they're landing after their flight, and she's terrified because landing was apparently a little rough. She's
well, he kept like looking over at her and like talking to her, and she's like, "Can you watch the road when you're landing the plane? Like, what are you doing?
Eyes on the runway, damn it!"
Yeah. What the hell?
Yeah. So they land, and he's like, "All right, well, remember what I said about me needing to mark you?" And she's like, "Whatever that is." He's like, "You need to smell like me. Like, do you not remember anything that we talked about the other day?" So
yeah, she's like, "Yeah, mark me. Like, what do you mean?" It's like, he literally told you he was going to mark you after you guys just had a conversation about how biting each other leaves marks. Why are you shocked by this? Like, what?
Although, like, I don't really feel like the marking is so much the biting as it is the, like, scent marking.
Yeah. So he busts a nut all over her and just, like, rubs it in. That's not what happens.
Okay, so she's like, "Okay, yeah, sure, whatever." And he's like, No. I need you to, like, look me in my eyeballs, in the windows of my soul, and tell me that you are okay with this. I need your expressed consent, because I'm about to be trying to figure out how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop right now. And she's like, "Okay." And he starts doing just that. He's like slobbing all over her knob. And apparently the places where they have those, what are they called?
They were like the little green marks that he put on her. Like,
well, no, her stylist put those on her. Right, they're like in the same place, but what are they called?
Scent glands?
Yeah, I hate the word gland. I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but that word gives me the ick. So, yeah, he's like, "You don't have scent glands, but you do have pulse points. And if I slobber all over you right here, it'll change the scent and you'll smell different." So he does that. It's behind her ears, like on the hollows of her throat, and then like on her wrists. And then he like flips her around and just takes a big old munch out of her neck. And during this process, they're getting, obviously, since there's been enough sexual tension to fill an entire continent, they're getting a little hot and heavy here. She's like apologizing because he's like really close to her, and she's like, "Oh my God, I know he thinks I'm so stinky." She's like, "I'm so sorry that I'm smelly." And he's like, "I fucking love your scent." And she's like, "I guess the baths helped." And he finally like cools down after, and I quote what Elena wrote, "a lot of grunting and sexual tension," and it's like, whoops, my bad. Sorry about that.
Because he basically is. He like finally steps back and comes to his senses, and he was just like, "Oh, that was unexpected."
Yeah, I mean, because he chomps her neck and then is like dry humping her, so I don't think anybody was expecting that. Then a car rolls up next to the jet, and she's like, "Yeah, so that got pretty sexual." He's like, "We're done though." She asked if her scent is better, and he's like, "Yeah, you smell like mine." Like, we love a possessive alpha.
Yeah, a big and large doggy boy.
Oh, stop.
So, oh Lord, the time comes for us to meet Emery. And Emery is not what any of us expect, because she's like just this sweet looking mid-50s lady. She's got like a hope, love, and courage pin on her cardigan. She's basically just like the embodiment of your racist grandma at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, she's like a live, laugh, love girly, or or she gave me like Southern conservative politician vibes.
Yeah, no, definitely. Her introductions are sweet and pleasant enough, and Misery is kind of shocked, but she does see at one point there's like this really brief flicker of distaste from Emery, like when she looks over at her. Like her words are nice, but you can see behind her little demon grandma eyes that like maybe she's not the most pleasant.
You say grandma, she's like in her 50s, okay?
Listen, there's a lot of grandmas that are 50, okay? My grandma's in her 50s. Wait, I think my grandma is over her 50s.
I'm like, sure. I know your grandma's not in her 50s anymore.
Listen, numbers, things, whatever. They go to dinner, and the first like dinner there with them is like pretty uneventful. They avoid the topic of Roscoe at all costs, and then Emery and Lo start chit-chatting about all this wear business, and Misery is like, okay, none of this has anything to do with me. I don't care. So she just kind of checks out. She's chilling. When they get to the room, before Lo even says anything to her, she takes his phone and is like, shush, 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 don't say shit. And she's like scanning the room for like bugs and, you know, any surveillance and little tiny cameras and like whatever. And she doesn't find any. They chat a bit back and forth. And she's like, so are we not going to be worried about Emery slitting our throat tonight? And he was just like, nah, they're not going to challenge me head on because they know they can't win like that. That's not going to happen. And he also mentions that the Wares siding with her, like they may not even know about the kidnap attempt like on Anna. And he also says, you know, he doesn't know, like they may not know that they're on the wrong side of this war in the first place. Things are very convoluted. Emery may really feel entitled to this position, which she does. And so her manipulating all these other Wares, you know, it's a little messy. At this point, Misery is hungry and she needs to eat. And she's like, you know, I can go do it in the bathroom or whatever, but Lo like doesn't mind. And he's like, you know, you can just do it right here. So she plucks a straw in it and she's just drinking a blood bag like a Capri Sun, which leads to some questions on his part about like what happens when they feed. And she basically just tells him like she gets like a little bit of like heightened senses and it like makes her lust for blood like a bit more like initially after she feeds. She decides to bring back up what happened at the plane. And he's like, yeah, it's sexually charged because the act itself is like sexually charged. So there was no real way like avoiding it. But he tells her that he's never done it before. So he didn't really know what to expect. And she's like, but you have a mate. So like, haven't you, like, why, how would you have not done this already? And he's like, well, I also said it's not always reciprocated. And she's like, oh, yeah, you did say that. I guess I made a lot of assumptions. And she's also realizing, thinking back to her conversation with the governor, he said that Gabby was Lo's mate. He never said that they were like actually together. And there was no signs of her like in his room at all. And Anna literally has not mentioned her at all. So she's kind of like, oh yeah, maybe I like really made one too many assumptions about, you know, them being together or whatever. Lo tells her at this point, like, he is not going to burden Gabby with the knowledge that, like, she's his mate. He doesn't want to take anything from her and, you know, that kind of deal. Because he's like, oh, yeah, they can't be with me. That would just be horrible for them. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure, dude. Okay.
Yeah, you're just hot and talented and
right. Yeah, like you're very sweet and, you know, like down to earth and powerful and, you know, all this stuff. But I'm sure
women hate that.
Yeah, like women are just so put off by that. So Lo is like not having any of this and he just wants the conversation to end. So he's like laying down in the bed and she sits next to him. And at this point, she calls him childish for like not trying with her because he's just like, well, you know, I'm not going to, just because I'm into her doesn't mean I'm going to force her to be with me. I'm not going to take that from her. And she's just like, kind of seems like you're being a childish little beehole about it.
A big whiny baby.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, really? I am being childish. And he goes off on like this whole spiel about how like he would do anything for her and he would accept any form of affection from her, even if it was just, you know, breadcrumbs. And even if it was just for like one night, but he refuses to take from her. And he feels like if he told her, she would feel beholden to him. And he wants her to not have anything else taken from her. And she just needs to live her own life. And
yeah, she needs like, her freedom.
Yeah. And Misery is like, oh, my bad. Like, I guess that's kind of like well thought out. Like, oops. And so at this point, she's just like, well, if you want to get changed into your PJs, you know, I'll keep my hands to myself, even if there's cute little blood drops on your PJs. And he's just like, oh, I'm not sleeping. And she's like, oh, right. Insomnia. And she mentions at this point that Serena also had insomnia when they were growing up, and the only thing that helped was lying next to someone she trusted, i.e. Misery. And also Misery would give her head scratches. Adorbs. So she starts giving him little head scratchies, and she's like, I'm sorry that you had to give up your entire life for your pack. And he's like, well, I mean, you did the same. And she's like, no, it's not the same. I just did this for Serena. And before he falls asleep, because he's already starting to get very sleepy from her little head scratches of power, he asks her if Serena wouldn't have disappeared, like, would you have been able to say no to your father? And she like contemplates this for a second, and she like comes up with a pretty depressing answer, which I'm assuming is no. She probably wouldn't have been able to tell him no. But by the time she comes to that answer, she doesn't tell him because he passed out. Her trick worked.
Sounds like my boyfriend.
Yeah.
I play with his hair and he's like gone. He's out. He's done.
Matt doesn't care too much about the hair, but if I start giving him back scratches, like, he's chill. That's it.
Yeah, so Trent also has like been really digging the white noise machine lately, which I prefer brown or green noise. And when I told him, he's like, what is this? He's like, it sounds like we're in a wind tunnel. I'm like, it's brown noise. And he's like,
ew.
He's like, he's like, I'll give you some brown noise.
I was like, I don't know what brown noise is, but all I'm thinking is just some like just a cacophony of farts.
It's not that. It's actually like very relaxing. Now he asks for it.
So it's not like the brown note.
No, we're not just like compulsively shitting our bed every night.
Oh my god.
But yeah, no, he's into it now. He's like, yeah, could you turn on the white noise machine? I'm like, oh, you want some brown noise?
Oh my god.
Anyway,
that is horrible.
Moving on to the next day. Misery wakes up and she has a note from Lo telling her that he went for a hot boy run, and she decides that she's gonna take another bath because that's like her hobby now. And when he gets back, he's like knocking on the door, are you decent? She looks down at herself. She's obviously like still in the bath, so she just like pulls some bubbles up and gives herself like a little bubble bra. And it's like, yeah, totally dressed. And he walks in and is obviously a little put off by that. And he's shirtless, so they just stand there checking. Well, he stands, she's sitting in the bath, and they're checking each other out. Everybody's horny. There's sexual tension so thick you could cut it with a knife. And he walks over and sits on the edge of the tub to tell him that he went on a run with Cohen and that he has agreed to distract Emery at dinner so they can sneak into her office. And Misery asks what Cohen's even doing here. And this is where we find out that Emery is actually Cohen's aunt, although he's not super fond of really any of his family at all. And he says that when Cohen is distracting her, Misery is going to say that she needs to feed, and they're going to go up together and use that moment to break into Emery's office. And she's like, okay, cool, that sounds great. And she's like kind of playfully splashing him, and they're flirting, and he's like feeling up on her tootsies and her leg.
Her tootsies are her toes. I should probably like be clear about that.
I feel like people know that, right? Do you guys?
I don't know.
Listen, get in the comments. Tell us if you know what tootsies are. So then she's like thinking to herself, like, wow, like we've really been touching a lot more since the whole like marking thing, since you took a big old chomp out of me. They go to dinner, and Cohen and Emery are there, of course, and then like more of their family shows up. And this is where she notes that, and I have a quote written down here, Cohen is an asshole in the most delicious and entertaining of ways. He seems to have distinct preferences, strong opinions, and little interest in keeping either to himself. And I'm like, I love this man.
Wow, he sounds like a joy. He would be fun to watch at a dinner party.
Yeah, so he like makes this really spicy comment like, well, thank you, Lo, for saving us from having to listen to another one of Roscoe's dinner rants. And nobody gets mad about that, I guess.
They're all just kind of like, you know, keeping themselves chill because Cohen, like, he is the alpha of like a whole other pack. So there's two alphas at this table right now. So he's obviously not really given one iota.
Yeah, he's like, fight me. I dare you.
He's like, would you like to try? I beg you.
Emery decides that she's also going to be a little spicy and starts talking about how Lo is forming an alliance with the humans. And he's like, it's done. And
she goes on her typical racist grandma rant.
Yeah. Any grandma at Thanksgiving.
She's like, well, it's been 5 whole minutes. Have you heard about the other races?
So he's like, yeah, no, it's done. It's going to start as soon as Maddie Garcia takes office. And she's like, kind of disrespectful to all the wares that died at human hands, right? And he's like, yeah, it's better than more of them dying, in my opinion. And Cohen looks to Emery and is like, not all of us just live to stir up shit with other species, which, again, typical conservative grandma. Yeah. Indeed, she says, some of you even have vampire spouses. Like, okay, we get it, lady.
Charming.
You have opinions.
Yeah.
So Lo's like, yeah, I'm very lucky, and uses this opportunity to ask Misery if she needs to feed, which everybody else is like, bleh.
Yeah.
And she's like fluttering her eyes at him. It's like, please. And they go to leave, and Cohen calls somebody a fuck waffle. And I noticed, man, that insult is used a few times.
Yeah.
Like, Ali Hazelwood really likes the word fuck waffle.
Which, I mean, fair. I guess that's an interesting one. You know, there are other insults that I feel like could be more fun, but I will accept fuck waffle.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in high school we used to call each other like twat waffles and stuff
yeah,
like
I
that.
remember. Yeah, I'm surprised it's not a twat waffle.
It was part of like the RAR XD random kid culture.
Nope, we don't love that. Don't miss those days.
Yeah, no, I really can't listen to or look at any like videos or pictures from my high school days, because I have like a visceral reaction to seeing teenage Haley, and I'm like,
I understand.
Why? Why did I do my eyeliner like that? Anyway, I used to like put it in my waterline and stuff, and I've got really tiny eyes, and then it just made me look like a mole. I don't know. Stupidest. I just had no sense of style at all. It's not a phase, Mom. Anyway, so they go off to Embry's office, and Misery is like picking the lock, and Lo's like, God, she's so sexy when she shoves bobby pins into doorknobs. And they get inside, and she sets things up on Emery's computer, and Lo's like, obviously don't touch anything. I feel like I should probably tell you this, though. And he's like, I'm going to cover your scent as much as I can. And he asks how long she's going to need. She says probably like 6 minutes. Do you think that's going to be too long? And he's like, no, they don't know how fast you feed. And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you.
This caught me off guard so hard. I was like, wait, what? Why are you thanking him?
And he's like, that was that a compliment? And she's like, it wasn't. And he's like, you need better compliments. And then he starts saying like all sorts of wonderful things about her and how smart she is and beautiful and great and caring and bleh. And then they get interrupted by people coming down the hall as two of Embry's guards are like heading toward the office to do patrols or rounds or whatever. And thinking on her feet, Misery's like, okay, we're just married. Let's just pretend that we are so horny we can't stop ourselves, and we got caught up in the height of passion. And Lo's like, yeah, but we already told them you're feeding, so maybe you should just feed for me. And she's like, yeah, sure, we can like pretend to do that. That's fine. He's like, no, you actually have to do it because they're gonna be able to smell the blood. And she's like, oh, okay. And then takes a little munch, and things get real sexy, and then the guards walk in.
Yep, so she is sucking this boy down when they waltz in, and the guards immediately are like so embarrassed, and they're like, oh my God, okay, cover your eyes, run Fred, oh God, don't look back. And Misery is like barely aware of this. She doesn't even hardly hear these dudes because she's just like enraptured with how good Lo is tasting. He's also like starting to get very turned on by the fact that she is draining his life force, which is strange kink, man, but okay.
You can tell that he was like he's been wanting this for a while because he's like,
yeah,
got a boner for her fangs and is like watching her suck down her blood Capri Sun like it's the sexiest thing he's ever seen.
So he starts like grabbing on her little butt cheeks, and he like picks her up and like has her like pinned like against this fireplace, and he's like dry humping the shit out of her while she's just like continuing to drink him, and then she literally has an orgasm. And I'm like, girl, I don't think I've ever drank nothing that gave me an orgasm, but I would love to try.
I mean, I don't know. Mojitos get me pretty close.
Yeah, mojitos are pretty great. When her orgasm subsides. She's like, oh, my bad. Like, did I
That's
drink too much?
embarrassing.
Like, I'm sorry. And he's like, oh, no, absolutely not. I've never felt so, like, turned on and, like, smitten by anyone and all
And I'm
this. And
like,
we're
did
just like,
this fucking
oh.
7-foot man unironically use the word smitten?
Yeah. And so, like, she wants more of him. Everything in her brain is like, yeah, suck on him some more. But she's like trying to keep it under control. And yeah, it's just, ooh, yeah, it's a whole thing. But their little moment is like interrupted by Emery walking in. Cohen is like in tow, like right behind her. And she's just like, oh, thought my guards were hallucinating when they told me what they saw. And I also thought that I locked this door, but I guess I was wrong. So, like, we're having dessert. You should come down, like, immediately.
We've been
And
waiting.
yeah. And Cohen is like, well, you know, like, they already had dessert.
Yeah,
And then,
Auntie.
yeah. And Cohen, after Emery walks off, he like looks to Lo and is like, hey, Cal called me, which is one of Lo's seconds. And he said he tried to call you. And Lo is like, oh, well, my phone's in the room. And Cohen is like, well, yeah, don't think you probably would have answered it anyway, considering what you guys were up to. But Cal mentioned the possibility of you guys heading home tonight instead of tomorrow. And it's something about Anna, I think. And they're yeeting.
So once they get back home, they land, they're driving back to the house, and Mick tells Lo that Anna's fever started pretty much as soon as they left. And it was low at first, and he assumed that maybe she just like eaten something, but then it started getting worse. She couldn't keep fluids down. She's like puking all over the place. They get to the house and go upstairs. Cal, Mick, and Juno are all there just like standing outside of her room trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do. And Misery asks if this is like something that happens to Wares normally. And they're all a little shook that Misery knows that she's not like a normal everyday Ware.
Mm-hmm.
And after Juno confirms with Lo that he did actually, in fact, tell her, Juno tells Misery that illness from bacteria or viruses doesn't affect them. Typically only poison can. So this is like totally out of their wheelhouse.
Which must be fucking nice. That they're just like, flu season who, girl?
Yeah, flu who.
Yeah.
I wish, man. I get sick so
Cindy
often.
Flu who. Oh my god, I'm done. Sorry, I'm canceled.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I literally have the immune system of, what was it, Bubble Boy? Do you remember Bubble Boy?
God, that movie's so old.
Moving on. So Misery goes in the room to see her, and they have like a sweet moment where she's like putting her hands on her forehead, and Anna's like, keep them there. They feel nice, because Misery is like an ice box. She asks how she's feeling. She's like, I might puke on you. And she's like, could you maybe puke on Sparkles instead? And she's like, as you wish. Yeah. Loved that. And then Lo comes in and gives her like a little pink giraffe as a souvenir. And of course, we have no clue when he would have gotten this pink giraffe. And Anna tells Lo that she misses her mom, and then breaks my heart by saying, why does Misha get to have 2 parents and I get none? It's not fair.
Dude, this is where like typically I'm like, screw the kids, put them in the closet. They're not helpful. They're not useful. But this one is like, I don't know. She's snarky and adorable, and like you just feel bad for her.
So sad.
Awful. Yeah. But this made me very sad.
Yeah. So Misery kind of like gives them some privacy, and the Wares are contemplating whether it's like worth the risk to try and take her to a human doctor, because they don't know anything about medication or human.
Were you going to say they don't know anything about Medicare? They're unable to navigate the field of insurance.
As, you know, as we all are. It's just a minefield.
Oh my god, it really is. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and I was also struggling on the word physiology again, because I apparently am just impaired from
physiology is such like a roller coaster of a word. I feel like it is all over the place.
Yeah. So Misery's like, yeah, I mean, like, I know what she maybe needs, because they also, oh my god, literally earlier in this chapter, Alex was like, yeah, we have some of that Tyler medicine, and she's like, do you mean Tylenol?
Yeah. They don't even know what Tylenol is. God, imagine being so far removed from, like, you know, any health issues that when you see that old man pop up on the screen saying diabetes, you're like, dia who? Dia what?
Why is he beating us?
Yeah.
She's like, listen, I lived with humans. I like know some stuff about medicine and things. And I had a human foster sister and had to take care of her. And Mick and Cal are like, meh. Which I will say, they were like very adamantly opposed to this, specifically Mick. And like that sketched me out a little bit. This is where I started
you
getting.
were saying that like Mitch was sketching you out. And Mitch, I don't know, I got 0 red flags from Mitch. I think
Mick?
Miss Hazelwood, oh yeah, Mick, God.
We have a friend named Mitch. And he is one big green flag. So
yeah. But yeah, no, like with Mick, I was not picking up anything. Miss Hazelwood completely disarmed me with him like having, you know, a dead wife and son and just being like a super sweet old man werewolf. So I don't know,
no.
but you were always picking up on stuff. When you text me that like Mitch was sus to you, this was like one of the few things you text me about the book. I was like, I had already finished it. And I was like, how every time does she just like somehow pick up on this shit? Because I'm not picking up on any of it. And my dumb ass gets to the end of any book and I'm like, wow, look at all these surprises. And you're like, there was like 73 points that should have led you to realize that this was not going to be a surprise.
I don't know. I read From Blood and Ash recently, like the first 2.5 books, and then I DNF'd the third book because it's just like a lot of the same. I wanted to like it so bad and I just didn't.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, the first 2 are good. Read the first 2 if you want to branch out into that. But something similar happens, and I called it almost immediately too. I'm like, sweet old man, sketch.
Yeah, sketch. Nobody is a good person. Screw that.
Immediately suspicious.
You got too many wrinkles and too many things hidden beneath them.
Anyways, so yeah, they're like kind of battling her on this, and Misery's like, listen, here's a list of stuff, and she gives it to Lo. If it's bacterial, we need this. If it's viral, we need this. He goes and gets the stuff, doesn't listen to anybody else, just like listens to her, gets the crap, brings it back, and she just like crushes a bunch of pills up into a little sloshy paste and feeds it to Anna. Of course, she says it tastes like poison, which makes everybody freak the hell out. I'm like, it's a kid. It's a kid.
Also, it's
medicine.
medication. It's not supposed to taste good. Like, you idiots. But
I mean, I guess they wouldn't know, but yeah, still, I'm like, oh my God, you people. So they're like hanging out, just kind of waiting to see if stuff happens. Misery decides she's going to check in on Alex and see if anything's popped up on the trackers. And she scares the absolute poo out of him while he's playing GTA because he can't smell her as much anymore. And he says they're getting a great signal on Emery's devices, nothing really important popping up yet. And then because of Anna's statement, Misery wants to locate her father. So without telling Alex what she's up to, she says Lo has given them a task to find men who worked with the Human Wear Bureau over the last 5 to 10 years and who would have interacted with Lo's pack. And he asks why, and she's like, listen, just something came up, he wants to know. And she goes to leave, and Alex is like, why does it smell like my alpha marked you? And she's like, bye!
I say good day.
She goes back upstairs to Anna's room, and Juna tells her that like Anna's fever's going down, she's doing better.
Oh, this made me so happy. I was like, oh my God, are they gonna like I don't know, I get stressed out and I'm like, oh my God, are they gonna kill the child? Like, don't tell me they're gonna kill the child. That would be so
Ali
messed
Hazelwood
up.
book, they're not gonna kill any kids.
I don't know anything about Ali Hazelwood, okay? I don't know what she's capable of.
I mean, some sex scenes that'll make you question whether or not you want to still have eyeballs. Oh my God. Juno leaves after complimenting Misery and Lo on being like a good team. And Misery's like, yeah, I mean, it was mostly me. And Lo's like, can you just shut up? And she asks Lo if he wants to sleep in her room so he can like check on Anna since she's going to sleep in the closet anyway. And he's like, yeah. And then she sits on the bed and asks if he's okay because he's obviously like a little out of sorts. And he's like, if you weren't here, I would have had to choose between her health and her safety. And Misery comforts him, and then he like lays in her lap and stays there for a while. They have like a little sweet moment.
Yeah, it's like cute because he's like kind of like checked out and like shocked at that point because he realizes like, holy shit, Like, if I wouldn't have been lucky enough to like have you here, like I genuinely would not have been able to do a single thing.
Also,
Oh my God.
okay, so like my question is, you've known that she was a hybrid like this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So why? Like, knowing that she like gets the sniffles and you've like seen her get kind of sick before, why would you not like research more about humans?
Right. They have Google. Like, why did it not? I mean, listen, they needed to be dumb and not use Google so she could come in and save the day, okay? That's that's
Seems
apparently
like a
the
plot
thing.
hole, Miss Hazelwood, but
Yeah. Regardless, she did the right thing and she helped the little baby out. 2 days later, Misery is on a call with her brother, Owen, and her movements and calls are no longer monitored at this point. She is given free reign at this point. Lo trusts her completely. And she asks Owen if there's any repercussions or side effects to feeding on a live host. And he's immediately like, who the fuck did you feed on?
yeah,
What
who
did you do?
you eating, girl?
Yeah, what happened? And she's like super defensive and she's like, I didn't. Like, why would you assume these
I said
things?
hypothetically.
Yeah, and he's like obviously not dumb. And he's like, Lo let you like feed on him, didn't he? And she's like, no. Okay, well, like, yes. And then like, so like this thing happened like during it, and I need to know if it's like no. And he's like, I'm gonna stop you right there. This is borderline incest. I already went through vampire puberty. I know exactly what happened to you when you fed on him. Do not say anything else. La 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 la. And he's like, under no circumstances should you do that again. Like, do not do it. Like, you feeding on the same person over a long period of time is gonna give you some fifis, do some things to you biologically that are not gonna be good. Do not do it again. Vampires are meant to be dicking each other down all over the place, left and right, but they ain't supposed to be having no relationships or being consistent with anybody. Do you understand? And she's just
no
like,
feelings allowed.
Yeah, not in his house, Okert. And she's just like, yeah, okay, like, whatever, and, dips on that call. Anna, thankfully, is now all healed up, and she is back to her usual terrace self. Her pink giraffe, he dubbed the name Sparkles 2, so precious. And Misery is chilling in the kitchen, and she's like contemplating life and eating peanut butter when Lo comes in and asks if she and Alex are doing a search for Anna's father, because she didn't actually expressly tell him. She's just kind of been, doing it on the side thing. And she's like, yeah, and saying like she felt like it made the most sense that her human father eventually believed their mother, Anna's mother, and that he may have told people, and possibly he may have told Serena. But she still doesn't believe that Serena would ever like disclose that information to anyone if she actually found out about it. Like, she still believes, Serena would do the right thing. And they have this little moment where she has like peanut butter stuck on her nose and he like gets it off with his thumb and then she sucks it right off. So lots of flirty, lots of trust. We're on the same side. It's cute. We love it. They're doing the thing. And he goes to leave, like, after this, and she tells him to, like, wait. They finally broach the subject of what's happening between them. He's like, well, I don't know. Okay, well, actually, I do. And she's like, yeah, I do too. But, like, I'm a vampire. And he's like, yeah, obviously. Yeah, we picked that up. And
You
she's
don't
like,
say.
yeah, and she's like, but like, what is between us? Like, it feels real, but like, I'm, she's just like kind of worried that she's like misinterpreting what he's laying down for her, which like, how would anybody misinterpret anything that has happened so far? But okay. And he comes up to her and is like, nah, girl, you ain't crazy. Green flag, and he like holds her and is like, oh, it can be just us, which precious. I'm like, okay, cool. We're getting somewhere. We're doing things. And she's like starting to feel like really, really like dizzy and like off kilter at this point. I'm like, damn, bitch, like you're so in love. You don't even know what's happening.
So hard.
Yeah, you're just like, this is like insane. And like she's like getting really giddy and her limbs are getting heavier and they're like going into kiss.
And at this point, I'm like, oh my God, he poisoned the peanut butter.
Yeah. And then like a searing pain starts stabbing through her body. And like right before their lips touch, she just like blacks out. And I'm like, no!
Yeah.
I'm like, Ali Hazelwood is not going to give it to us easy, ladies and gentlemen. She is not going to give it up easy.
I'm thinking to myself, as she's starting to get like a little woozy at this point, like, okay, that's it. Somebody poisoned the peanut butter. Like, that's gotta be It's the only thing that could have happened. And Elena's like, oh, she's just swooning so hard.
Literally, I'm like, wow, like love is really overtaking her. Like it's just like making her useless. What the hell? And then she like passed out, and I'm like, wow, this is so unexpected. What's going on?
So yeah, she's out. She's hurting. She's pretty convinced she's gonna die. And when she finally comes to enough to like process things around her, she can sort of hear Lo. And then she does like come to a little bit more, and she sees Dr. Averill, which is like the collateral office's physician. So he's like a vampire doctor. And
yeah, he had been like taking care of her like throughout her childhood when she was, living with the humans at the behest of her father.
And I'm assuming if the wares don't use Google, I doubt the humans do either, and they probably can't fix vampire problems. So
yeah.
Yeah, so he gives her some sort of painkiller before she passes out again, and she hears him talking to Lo, who's like, what do I need to do for her? Like, how do I help? And he's like, I mean, nothing. She just needs to sleep. Her body's going to go into a healing state. She's going to look dead as a doornail. And in a couple hours or a couple days, she'll probably be fine.
Yeah, I love that time span. It's like, might be 3 hours, might be 3 days. Good luck.
Who knows? He's like, listen, she's going to be hungry. When she wakes up, she needs blood. The fresher, the better. And I'm also going to have to tell her dad. And that might be seen as an act of war. So I guess watch your emails.
Yeah. Hoping for the best. Yeah. Don't forget to fill out my review card.
And then like over the next like however long, we don't know, she remembers like little bits and pieces of things, like just Lo being really protective and him moving Anna to a safe place, worried that something might happen again. And also at this point, we hear Mick asking where he's gonna take Anna, and Lo's like,
oh my god, you're right.
Yeah, and Lo's like,
he doesn't tell him. He doesn't tell anybody.
He's like, you don't need to know.
Oh my god, you're fucking right. Yeah, how do I miss things like this?
Dude. I think I put that in my notes too.
I mean, to me, it just seemed like so obvious and like normal, because it's like, obviously he's one of his like most trusted people. So like you would think like, yeah, obviously he's like gonna want to know. Oh my gosh. And then yeah, like he does make a point to say like, later on, like he doesn't trust anybody now. Like he doesn't know who he can trust or anything. So.
I have like 2 lines. And now he wants to know where Lo is moving Anna. Sus.
Sus. He has a little sussy baka full of lies.
She finally wakes up out of this stupor she's been in, trance, whatevs, and she feels healed, but she's still like a little weak, a little wobbly. So she's like gonna go find somebody. She's gonna go wander around the house, find somebody.
Yeah, she wants to know how long she's been out.
And she's like, well, hopefully I don't end up asking the person that poisoned my peanut butter. And she makes her way to the door of her room and stumbles on what she thinks is like a toy, I think, at first. And
it was like, she thought it was like doll clothes that like Anna had like bundled up outside her room and was like playing.
Like, how big of a pile of doll clothes would this have been? Because it turns out to be Lo, and Ali makes a point to tell us how big this wolf is.
He's
so like,
large.
how many dolls does Anna have?
Yeah.
So she's like, well, is this you? She doesn't know. She just sees a big ass wolf, and it just blinks at her, and she's like, okay, if you could like give me a sign, that would be cool, because you're really scary. And she's like, are you going to kill me? And he walks up and like nuzzles her and tries to like herd her back into her bedroom. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that's definitely you. You're bossy.
Yeah.
And she tells him how fluffy and cute he is and asks if she wants to sleep next to her in the closet, because it's easier to talk to him when he's a wolf. And he grabs a pillow and blanket for her with his mouth and carries it over, and
it's so
sleep
cute
in the closet. Yeah, just very cute.
Why can't my husband turn into a dog?
It reminds me of like how both of us, and I'm sure Ember does this too, like freak out about that cat avatar in VR.
In VR chat. Dude, nothing is better than seeing your husband be like inhabit a little tiny kitty body.
Yeah, I finally got my boyfriend to get in VR now. Yeah, and he's been, that's like the only avatar he'll use. He's like, this is the only one that feels right. And I'm like, that's fine with me. And it's just the tiniest cutest little kitty, and he's got the cutest little arms.
And everything he does is adorable. Suddenly, see, that's the thing. I'm like, dude, if you could be this tiny little kitty all the time, I'm pretty sure you could, like, say horrible things to me, and I would be like, this is so adorable. Like, you're so great. Thank you. And he's like...
I mean, I don't know
I
if we'd
love
be
it.
sleeping together, because what am I supposed to do? Just
Oh,
shove the
yeah,
entirety
no.
of you into my vagina? But
oh my god, it makes me think of, like, that Step Brothers, like, that crazy bitch in Step Brothers who's, like, peeing in the urinal, and then, like, when she sees him, she's just like, I just want to roll you up into a little ball and shove you in my vagina.
it made me think of Big Mouth, where Nick's mom is, like, sniffing his head. She's like, you smell like fresh buttered baby. I just want to shove you back up inside.
Oh my god. Holy shit. Oh, okay. All right.
I tell my cat she smells like fresh buttered baby all the time.
Fresh buttered baby. That is a horrible, horrible thing to say. Oh my god. That is, oh, Jesus. That's a lot. Oh, okay. I just want to unhear that. Fresh buttered baby. All right. So Misery wakes up alone. Her sweet, fluffy baby man dude guy is gone. And
Her fresh buttered baby man.
Oh, God, it's so horrible. So she wants to go find him. And when she goes downstairs, she sees him having a meeting with his pack of seconds. And when she, like, walks in, he's immediately like, oh, you should go. I'll, come find you in a bit. And she thinks that he's talking to her. So she's just like, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. And so she's, like, going to leave. But then, like, the whole pack is, like, walking past her and they're leaving. And she was just like, oh, okay. He, like, goes up to her and, he's like, oh, you okay? She's, like, noticing he hasn't shaved in, like, days and looks like shit. Well, as much of shit, as he could possibly look like. Let's be real. She asks how long she's been out, and he tells her that she's been out for 5 days. And she's like, oh, great. Like, do we have, like, a war on our hands? And Lo tells her that, like, it was narrowly avoided only because it was the peanut butter that was spiked. And typically, since vampires do not eat food, the assumption could easily be made that it was actually meant for Anna and not her.
And her concern is that...
yeah, like, she's like, oh my god, does my dad know I ate peanut butter?
I'm like, honey, your dad doesn't give a one single flying fuck about you.
Like, yeah, like, oh my gosh, that just killed me. That it's like, of all things, it's like, that's like the worst thing that she was worried about getting.
Could have been a war, but oh no, my dad knows I ate peanut butter.
Yeah, so she asks him where Anna is, and he tells her that she is with Cohen, and that is, like, top secret and no one else knows. She is the only one who gets to know. And he tells her, like, he doesn't know who to trust anymore at this point. Like we were saying earlier, like, he's finally, like, broken to the fact of, like, he literally can only trust himself and probably Misery, because she's been on his side this whole time, so why not? Misery asks him if he thinks Emery is behind it, and he says, like, he doesn't know who else would have had the resources to break into his home and poison her, but her communications are heavily monitored, and they didn't find a single thing regarding this. The only thing that they did find was, like, this link to, like, an arson that happened to, like, some schools somewhere, and that's all they've been able to pin her for. But anything else, she's been low-key and silent. And so he finishes their conversation telling her that he's gonna move her as well. Like, she needs to be moved somewhere safer. She can't be with him anymore. And she's just like, that's not happening. Good luck. I will not comply. I will not be subjected to criminal abuse. No. And, like, he, she's arguing pretty hard, so he just, like, drops it. And at this point, she's, like, kind of sniffing, and she's like, oh, wow, yeah, I'm pretty stinky. And he's like, well, yeah, you sweat through your sheets multiple times. And she's just like, wow, I barely even have, like, sweat glands. That's pretty impressive. Like, damn. Lo is, like, really sweet, and he just, like, scoops her on up and picks her up and takes her to the bath. And he, like, he starts the bath, he, like, puts her in it, and he's, like, washing her with a washcloth. And she's just like, oh, you're a washcloth person. And he's just like, well, like, what do you use? And she's like, nothing. And she, like, takes the washcloth away, and she's like, you could just use your hands. And I'm, like, having PTSD flashbacks of the poor girl in Credence in the tub getting washed. Like, that's all I'm seeing, and it's horrible. So I was like, okay, gotta keep going. It's just, we're gonna fuck you, baby. Oh my god. I hate that I still remember what has happened in that book. I want 5 years of my life to go by so I can forget I ever read it.
I feel
Oh my
like
God.
that line will probably stick with you forever.
It's never going away. It's never going away. There's some lines in this that are never going away either. And boy, I will let you know when they come up because by golly, are they something. So.
I have a feeling I know.
Oh, I bet you do. So he spends some time like washing her, and then it quickly turns into, like exploring her, and then it turns into like the bean flickening of the century. And
why did you
after
call me
because you hate it.
God, I don't want any part of my female anatomy to be referred to as a legume.
A baint.
I'm not into it.
So at this point, she asks if they can like finally kiss because she has drank his blood. He has been all up in her body. He has literally bitten her. And now he just gave her an orgasm.
Another one.
Another orgasm. And
Another
they've
one.
never kissed.
Sorry.
Yeah.
DJ Khaled.
Yeah. And she's like... So she's just like worried about her fangs because she's like, oh no, I don't want to like bite you. And he's like, oh yeah, I don't care about that at all. And he's the one that's like really, he's like really rough and aggressive with her while she's like trying to like navigate his mouth and hopefully not hurt him. And like at first it's like awkward, but then it's all coming together. And after he makes her meet her creator again, they keep making out and he picks her up out the tub and takes her to the closet and is like, well, now I gotta eat you out because it's a weird thing. And it's like, okay, cool. So they both get off. Yay them. They're very happy about it. He doesn't even take his pants off to like make it happen. And there is a really horrifying comment about jeans being sticky, and we're just gonna glaze right over that. So their sexy time gets ruined by Owen calling them. Thank God, honestly. And she answers. So it's a video call, so that's cool. Don't know how many of you freaks have answered a video chat right after you get laid, but I see you, honey. I've done it once or twice. It's fine. Just keep the blankets up real high. So Owen obviously knows right off the bat, like, what's going on. Like, he's, once again, not stupid. And he's like, okay, lovely. Thanks. Great. This is definitely what I wanted to see.
Could you have just called me back when you were dressed?
Right. So he starts to tell her that he has like information about her friend and he's saying it to her in the tongue. But she's like, no, you can speak English. Like, Lo is actually helping me look for Serena. And he's just like, oh, okay, cool. So he tells her that Serena's apartment got broken into 3 days ago and it's trashed. And the security camera footage was doctored. So there's like no leads. They have no idea who's done it. And Lo asks him if anything was stolen. And Owen is like, well, it's kind of hard to tell because the place is wrecked. And he's like, listen, I have more to tell you, but I'm gonna need to tell you in person. Like, we can't do this over the phone. And she's just like, okay, cool. And before he hangs up, he's like, for the love of God, get all the fucking out of your systems. Like, I don't want to see this. And then click. So Lo's like, okay, I'll set up a meeting between you guys, as soon as I can. And his phone rings and he's like pulled away on pack business. So he dips and Misery goes right back to sleep.
So when Misery wakes up in the next afternoon, morning, whenever she gets up, she's a vampire, whatever. She makes her way downstairs hungry because she still hasn't eaten anything since she was poisoned. And in the kitchen, she finds Alex and Lo. They're like hunched over a laptop. They're talking, and Misery's like, is Anna okay? And Lo's like, yeah, she's fine. Then Alex gives her a hug, which is alarming to her, and thanks her for protecting Anna, to which Misery says, I didn't get poisoned on purpose.
Yeah. It's not like I was trying to do that.
I just happened to be disgracefully into peanuts.
Yeah.
She loves that nut paste. So he says, regardless, he knows she would have done it to protect her anyway. Alex then tells her that he got a lead on Serena while she was basically dying, and he found a human, Thomas Jacklicus, I didn't know.
Jackass.
Yeah. Thomas Jackass, who worked for the Where Human Bureau and this high-profile finance job. So Serena interviewed with him in person when he was working at the financial job before she disappeared, but she never was able to publish the interview. And Alex pushes for more information on why he's looking into that dude, and Lo's like, yeah, no, it's time for you to go. So Alex leaves reluctantly, and Lo then shows her the picture of Thomas, and the resemblance to Anna is just like undeniable. They look pretty spot on. And Misery starts getting excited, saying like, he has to be the person that told Serena about Anna, and she wants to set up a meeting with him, but Lo's like, well, yeah, we would totally have done that, except he did. He died in a car accident about 2 weeks after Serena went missing, which is suspicious.
Yeah, definitely.
Lo thinks so as well. He's like, yeah, it's definitely not a coincidence. And he comforts her and tells her, like, look, just because he's dead, I don't think that means that Serena's dead too, because she's already spiraling. She's well on her way. Misery's like, well, if we can't talk to him, we have to talk to a predecessor or someone who knows him. And Lo tells her that they can talk to Governor Davenport because he's the one that appointed him to both positions.
He's a drunk little gossip.
Yeah, and she's like, great, I love talking to him. And he already took the liberty of making dinner plans with him for the next day under the guise that he and Misery wanted to give him a thank you gift for coming to the wedding. And she's like, okay. And she thanks him for the lean on Serena, but her insides are cannibalizing themselves. So she starts making a beeline for the blood fridge. And he's like, no, it's okay. You can take a little sippy out of me. Yeah. And
I got a little bit of man juice for you, baby.
Stop it. And of course she's like, yeah, that sounds real good. But then she's like, maybe we shouldn't, because Owen said it's probably not a good idea. And it should only happen for people that have like deep feelings for each other. And it like biologically changes you. And he's like, so wait, we don't have feelings for each other? And she's like, yeah, but we shouldn't do it because it's going to create like a long-term bond and there could be consequences. And he's like, honey, we are the consequences. I'm just like, aw. She's like, I don't see this going anywhere good because he has a mate, and she's like already jealous of the mate. And if she finds Serena, it'll make things more difficult for her to figure out like where she wants to go after all of this is over. And he's like,
as if Lo does not seem like a dude that would just be like, move her in. Why do I care? Like as if it would be like actually something that you have to deal with, girl, please.
Yeah, sometimes her thought process.
Well, also she still thinks like Gabby is like his mate and stuff. Like he's only said like one thing to like even remotely allude to it, but he never outright was like, she's my mate. It's like, girl, you're putting a lot of stock into this. Henny.
So he stops her because he can tell that she's like having some mental things going on.
She gets in her head real quick, like.
Yeah, she's internally arguing with herself, and he's like, Misery, come on. And she's like, okay, fine. I guess we shouldn't ignore what's between us, and I am hungry. So she decides that she's gonna take a chomp out of his wrist instead of doing his neck because she doesn't want to leave a mark and let everybody know what's going on. And he's like, I don't care. Can you just... like, girl,
suck me like a Capri Sun.
Yeah.
I want to be crinkly by the end.
Yeah, like, I'm cosplaying as a Juicy Juice bitch. Let's go. And so she's lapping him up, and he tells her, of all the good things in my life, you are the fucking best. And I'm like, that's really cute.
Yeah, it's adorable to say that to your wife who's drinking your blood.
And so she like licks his wounds closed, and he takes her upstairs.
That was cool. Like, yeah, like her tongue like will seal like the wound behind. I was like, oh wow, fancy.
I was like, that's pretty common for like vampire tropey books of like being able to have like the heal fast. Well, and where's heal fast anyway? Moving on. So he's like stripping her down. They're having some sexy time or about to, and she stops him and asks if he has a condom, and he's like, yeah. We can't do like P and V sex anyway, honey. And she's like, what do you mean we can't? Why? He's like, we're just not like physically compatible like that. And she's like, I don't understand what you're talking about. And he's like,
I'm pretty sure my genitalia resembles like human and were females. Like, what's going on here?
I'm like, she's like, there's human were hybrids. If humans can do it, so can I. Which reminds me of, so there's like a sound that people have been doing like reels and TikToks too lately where it's like, and I thought to myself, how hard can it be? Boys do it. And then she's like, I thought to myself, how hard can it be? Boys do it. That's asks Misery, she's like, how hard can it be? Humans do it.
Yeah, for real. Oh my gosh.
He's like, oh, listen, I can show you. And she's like, yeah, okay, yeah. And so she gives him a little handy-roo. And when he spurts his baby gravy everywhere, God, Elena, did you really write where wee wee?
Oh my god, I'm suffocating. Oh my god. Woo.
Yeah, so like the base of his
Wee wee.
where wee wee inflates like a balloon.
Okay. So at this point, okay, all right. When I read this, okay, my husband was home. He's sitting in the other beanbag, and I scared the shit out of him because I am scream laughing at what I'm reading because I'm just so confused. I had to reread it like 3 times because I was not understanding that, like, it's like the base of his phallus inflates like real hardcore. And I'm like trying to explain this to Matt, and he goes, "Oh, are you reading furry porn?" I was like, no. What do you mean? Like, he's a human. He's aware. And he was like, oh, that's why. It's like a dog thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, God. And I was like, okay, I don't want to know anymore. Whatever. I'm moving on. Like, we're just gonna not.
Like, it like locks you in.
Yeah. Oh, God. It's so weird. So that's something. That's why they can't do the because it will like it, I guess.
It's just
too
gonna
big.
give her hoo-ha a blowout.
Yeah. So after their little experiment, and now she understands what she is dealing with, you could say, we move on to the next day, and Misery and Lo are going into human territory, and they're trying to get the governor a gift. And I found this so funny because it's like both of them are going back and forth trying to pick things out for him, and they were like, they start with just like kind of being like, no, that's not it, and then they start making fun of each other's choices, and then they're just flat out like fighting because they can't figure out what they're gonna pick. It like escalates so quickly over something so dumb, and I'm like, that is relationships. Yeah.
No, he does not want live, laugh, love painted on a wooden pallet.
Yeah,
Misery.
So like it's so funny. They're finally just like, oh my god, are we like putting way too much thought into this, and like we're having a fight over it? And they're like, yeah. So they end up picking a polar bear ashtray to take for the gift because they were like, oh yeah, we said we were bringing him a gift, so we gotta get him one. When they get to his house, the governor is kind of like a passive aggressive douche. He's like, so glad to see an interspecies marriage that hasn't ended in bloodshed. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. He's like, I bet you guys like fight all the time though, right? And they're both like kind of looking at each other, looking at him, and they're like, no, not really. I mean, yeah, it's fine.
We did pretty good.
Yeah, they have dinner, and over the dinner, Lo is like slowly leading the conversation to his mother, and then by extension to Thomas Jackass. And when Lo asks about Thomas, the governor's like, oh yeah, he just like died sadly, in a car accident. And Lo is like, oh, that's a shame. Like, my mom spoke fondly of him. And the governor's like, I bet she did, because that man got around. No. And Lo is like, all right, I'm done with this shit. And he like gets up, is like yeeting across the room. She's got the governor in one hand, slams him up against the wall, and he's just like, hi. And the governor is shitting himself and is like, oh my God, help, somebody help. And so like his security walks in, it's like 4 dudes like pointing guns at him. And Lo's like, you stink of lies, governor. Why did you have him killed? And he acknowledges like the guards around him, and he's just like, I can kill you faster than they could kill me, so you better tell me now why you had him killed. And he's just like, okay, like I had him killed because I'm embezzling a shitload of cash dollars, and he found out what the office was doing, and he was going to expose me. And Lo is like, okay, great, thanks. It just like drops him to the floor and is like, we'll see ourselves out. And they leave. And I'm like, hell yeah. Because at first you just think like the governor is just kind of like stupid and like, oh, not stupid, but he's like, you know what, drunk. And he's just kind of vibing, doing his own thing. But it's really highlighted in this chapter that he is a freaking douche. Like, he's definitely just been in power for too long. And like, it shows, and what a beehole he is. They get back in the car, and Lo tells Misery that he has like several people already trailing the governor, and Alex is also working on infiltrating the governor's communications. So when he decides to make his next move, they'll know what he's doing. And Misery like starts venting to Lo, and she's just like, even with Serena interviewing Thomas, it really doesn't add up that she had Anna's name in her planner. And she's just like really confused about the whole situation. But Lo proposes an alternative theory that maybe it wasn't Thomas who told Serena about Anna, but the other way around. That maybe Serena found out about Anna and she actually used it as blackmail against Thomas so she could get the governor's embezzlement story. And once she actually got it, she changed her mind on publishing it because she realized that her life would be like in danger. And since she wasn't a public figure like Thomas, she chose the option of getting the fuck out of Dodge immediately so she couldn't be found and, murdered. Misery is like, okay, well, she wouldn't just disappear without saying anything, and she couldn't just dip without a trace, like digitally. Like, I would be able to find that. And he points out, like, well, I mean, like, yeah, and she also learned from you. So she's like, oh, well, like, not you two trying to convince me that Serena didn't care about me as much as I cared about her, which is so sad. And she's like, she told me everything. And he counters with, well, not everything. Like, you did say she'd disappear for days at a time, which is not the same. Okay. Like, friends can be like, she mentioned it, it's like, whatever. Like, I don't feel like as friends, you have to know every single thing about what each other is doing at all times. If you communicate that you're like off doing something, and that's just for you, then bitch, that's just for you. There's like, I don't like that insinuation at all. I don't know. I really love like her friendship with Serena. You get a lot of like tidbits of like them as children and how she just thinks of her overall. And it's like, surely she can't be like a shitty person that would like do this, right? With how she feels about her. I was concerned.
Suspicious about the whole her disappearing for days at a time thing. I'm like, that sounds interesting.
So Misery pushes back on this, like him saying like, well, she'd disappear for days at a time. And she's like, yeah, but she'd always tell me. And he's like, well, maybe she just didn't have time this time around. Like whatever happened, she had to leave that fast. And her final defense is, well, yeah, but like, what about Sparkles? And he's like, because, she's not just going to leave her cat. Like, who would do that? And he's like, let me ask you something. Like, do you think she knew you well enough to predict that you'd go looking for her and you would find her cat? And in her mind, Misery is like, fuck, that does sound like a Serena plan. Like, that does sound like something she would do. And she remembers the last time they spoke when Serena said she just wanted Misery to care about, one fucking thing. And she's like, well, I guess the cat would be a thing. And at this point, she's like, nope, not having it. And she doubles down to Lo, saying like, Serena, also wouldn't risk the life of a child, even for like the juiciest of stories. She just does not want to accept his theory because it would mean that, maybe she didn't really know Serena as well as she thought she did. And she just cannot. She doesn't want to wrap her mind around that, which like who would? So Lo drops it. He's just like, okay, like he realizes like he's not going to be able to push any further. And at this point, she realizes that they're not going towards Were territory. And Lo's like, oh, surprise. We're going to the vampire human border. We're going to meet with your brother. And we're going to the collateral residence, which is apparently some house that's like not on the GPS that she like lived in as her time in collateral. And so when they arrive, her brother Owen gets out of the car, but so does another person. It's Gabby, Lo's mate.
Like we're gonna leave off on a cliffhanger, but no, yeah. Instead I'm gonna tell you what happened now. Yeah. So Misery's like, oh shit. She's quaking and getting a little paranoid about what's gonna happen with Lo, with him being so close to his mate.
Is he gonna mount her immediately? Will he be able to control himself? Oh no. Is he going to have to urinate on her to mark his territory?
Is his penis going to inflate and float him towards her? No! She's trying to keep it together, and Lo's like comforting her, holding her hand. And Owen's like, oh my God, I thought I told you guys to like get this out of your systems. Yeah.
And Owen has no interest in any public displays of affection.
He just doesn't want to see his sister doing that shit, which I
Yeah.
get it. Yeah, he's a little frustrated. And Gabby's like, hey, and Lo returns the greeting, but he's still like holding her hand, and she's like, Misery's like, maybe he's just trying to make her jealous? I don't know. And then she just brushes it off and is like, surely he's not that immature.
Surely we're not in high school, right? Like, you have so many people's lives in your hands. That's not what you do, right?
I would hope not. And Owen tells Misery that they still haven't really found anything regarding the break-in at Serena's apartment or like the security footage, and they checked the building across the street, and that one's been a bust too. So like they haven't been able to find anything out. Misery tries to ask him if it was like a hardware or a software thing, but Owen doesn't really know because they wiped the cameras. But Gabby steps in and tells her that they most likely jammed the signal, which indicates that it was a professional job by somebody with a whole lot of money, and it plays into Lo's theory, which I do like this part because Owen's trying to play it off like he doesn't know. He doesn't know anything about technology. He's like, they did some fancy whatnot, whatever. And then Gabby's like, yeah, they use jammers. And
yeah,
Misery's
she
like,
explains it. It's like, oh, jammers were like by using this like radio frequency, blah, blah, blah. Like,
yeah, and
she
Misery's
lays it
like,
out
oh
for
my
you.
God, yeah, I love you. So
Right?
smart. So then Gabby tells her she's sorry for what happened to her friend and that it must be horrible not knowing. And Misery's like, wow, out of everybody that I've talked to about this, nobody's just like told me they were sorry for how I felt about it. And I'm like, that's really sad.
Yeah, it is like horrible. She like says people have offered up like advice or suggestions or like whatever, but nobody's ever like just said sorry. And Gabby like disarms her pretty quickly. It's like, oh damn, like
Okay, but I
you're
like
pretty
her. I
cool.
hate you, but I like you.
Yeah. I hate you, but I like you, and I hate that I like you.
Yeah. So then Owen moves on to like more interesting things, and he says that he plans to take their father's seat on the council in 2 weeks. And Misery's like shocked Pikachu face. Ada? And she's like, did father like die and you just forgot to tell me about it? He's like, that sounds like something I would do, but no. And Misery started to panic a little bit, and she's like, he's gonna kill you. Any vampire who's tried to take power in the past has always ended up dead, and her father would certainly do the same thing to him. And she feels like her brother's an idiot for being so careless, and that his plan is it's gonna just lead to utter
It's
demise.
gonna go tits up.
Yeah, and she tells him that, and
because she like still thinks he's like
just a like a flighty
very,
socialite.
Yeah. Like he's just not really like able to do anything, serious. He's just kind of coasting by in life. And he's just like, let me tell you.
So like I get why she feels that way to a point, but like you haven't really spent any time with your brother. Like you don't know. You've been off in the human territory for however many years. Like
for sure.
Like you don't know. And he shocks her because he's like, I've been planning this for 3 months, Misery, ever since Dad said he was going to send you back into enemy territory, and that he couldn't do anything when they were kids, but he was going to try now. Because that was why she felt that way, is because like he never really stood up for her. She felt like her brother didn't really even love her, that they were just kind of like reluctant allies through life against their dad. I don't know. But he's like, no, I'm like, I am going to help you. I'm going to get you out of here. He has been carefully and stealthily accruing allies and making plans for a coup d'etat, and that he doesn't want to have the collateral ceremony anymore. He wants to get just rid of that completely, which hallelujah.
Good. Yeah. Stop sending children across each other for collateral. What is wrong with you people?
Yeah. And he wants to like get rid of the arbitrary borders and try and bring everybody together with like a real truce, like a real peace between the races. Yeah. And we know that can be done in other places. So like that sounds nice. And Lo's just kind of quiet through all of this. And Owen asks if he has any advice, and he doesn't, but he does say that he's not a huge fan of their dad, obviously, and would love for someone like Owen to take power because he shares the same vision that Lo has. While Owen is filling Misery in on specifics and like who he's working with, she's listening to Lo and Gabby talk, which, girl, pay attention to your brother. These things are important.
Yeah, he's like trying to fill her in on things, and she's just like, okay, yeah, and she's like got her hand behind her long pointy ear, like just listening over to what everything they're saying.
Yeah, like a satellite pointing it toward them. Lo asks Gabby if she's okay, and she's like, yeah, Owen's really the only one that talks to me, and he pretty much just games, and she works on her master's degree. And he's like, oh yeah, right, for finance. And she's like, no, it's electrical engineering, which is like way off, bro.
Yeah.
And she says she'll be done by the end of the year. And he's like, wow, that's cool. Congratulations. And she's like, yeah, congratulations on your marriage. Nothing else really happens. They just have like a very surface level conversation and go their separate ways. And Misery is like expecting them to hug or kiss or something when he goes to get back in the car, thinking back on him saying that he would accept any shred of affection from his mate. But They don't. He's like, later.
They just walk off. Yeah.
And gets in the car.
Have fun working on your finance electrical engineering degree.
And she's like, what the hell? Like, he didn't even remember what her major was. She's like, I'm not an expert in love or wares, but Gabby is definitely not this man's mate.
And I was like, no shit.
Yeah, because I mean, like, we as the readers know what's going on this whole time. And so it's like, oh my God, can we just wake up and smell the blood Capri Sun, people? Like...
So as they're driving away, Misery is like contemplating over the fact that Gabby is definitely not this dude's mate. And she's just like looking out the window and she realizes that they're actually near her old neighborhood. And she mentions it to Lo that she lived like 5 minutes away from here. And he's like, okay, well, I want to see your place. Like, let's go. When they're there, he's like looking around and such and taking in her layers of smells. And she's like, yeah, so Gabby isn't your mate. And he's like, no, she's not. And she tells him that the governor told her that she was. And Lo starts to fill in the blanks for her. In the initial talks that he had with the vampires, they required a collateral. And he was going to call it off because he refused to send one of their own into vampire territory. But Gabby actually came to him and she volunteered for the sake of brokering a peace. And he was just like, okay, well, I mean, like, I guess if this is what you want, you know, you can do the thing. Having her suspicion confirmed, she starts making out with him. And he wants to like slow things down, but she's just like, no. He's like, yeah, but we still have the same issue. It's called the knot. And then he tells her to like say it. And she's like, so she's like, okay, the knot. And he's like,
because she like at first is like she doesn't know what it's called, and he's like, you don't even know what it's called, do you? And she's like, she's staring at him blankly. He's like, it's called a knot, and I need you to say that for me.
And then he's like, what do you think it does? And she's like, keeps things inside. And I'm like, all right, I think we know where this is going. So things get spicy and they're going at it. And after he is exploring her, he determines like, you know, yeah, we can probably actually make it work sexually as long as I don't
inflate like an air mattress inside of you.
Oh my God. All right. So after they do the deed, they've done the deed. That's all you're getting. Misery is feeling pretty confident in herself. And she's just like, okay, so like, does the knot happen like every time? Or is it like only with certain people?
Because she's like, she's suspicious at this point. She thinks she knows what's going on.
Yeah. And he's like not really wanting to answer. And she's just like, it's something that only happens between mates, isn't it? He's looking pretty shook by this. And she's like, don't worry. Like, I definitely like you too. Like, I'm not the best with feelings, but like, I get it. The whole mate thing. And this man completely switches gears and is like, oh no. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, did I give you like the wrong impression? We are definitely not mates, girly. And she's just like, wait, what? And same, girl, I am also like, wait, what? What is happening? What is he doing? What is this stupid shit that's happening in this book right now?
I'm like, and no, you are not trying to be a martyr right now and breaking her heart.
Yeah, like, what? No, what are we doing? And so she's like pretty, dumbfounded and crushed. And he just continues on as like, I know you've been abandoned your whole life by like everyone close to you. And the thought of eternal love must sound great, but that's just not what this is, Misery. I'm sorry.
Yikes, man.
Yeah. I'm like, sir. Someone needs to break their foot off in your ass. He gets a call right after this and he's just like, I gotta go. And then he's like, we should stay apart from now on and someone will come pick you up in a bit and take you into Were territory. And all this is happening while this girl is still covered in his cum. And he just dips. And she's just like standing there in her apartment by herself,
dripping
covered in nut.
Jizz.
And it's like, what just happened? And I'm like, girl, what did just happen? What the fuck?
Yeah, I was mad at him for this.
Yeah, that was dumb.
So Misery's first priority is what many people's priority would be. And that's taking a shower. And she's once again spiraling, and understandably in a whole world of just hurt feelings and overthinking the fact that her family has offered her up to her enemies, her best friend abandoned her, and now this. So the one nice thing that Lo did was he said that somebody would be by to pick her up, and
he at least paid for her Uber.
yeah, oh my God. I was so mad at him for this. So her chauffeur turns out to be Mick, which set off sirens for me.
Okay, so it's like setting off sirens for you, and then do you see how it's like Mick, the lovely old where? Like you can see like where I still am, completely in the dark, completely not knowing what is going down at all, even a little. Like the idiot I am. Apparently, I'm someone that would be easily lured into the back of the candy van.
Yeah, some guy's like, yeah, we have Lindor truffles. And Elena's like, ooh, really?
Like, are you running like a sale? Totally. Okay, done.
Yeah. I have to come in? Oh, cool. So, yeah, he shows up to get her, and she gets in the car, and he looks sad. And I'm like, oh my God, this man is about to do something horrible. And she's like, are you good? And he's like, yeah, I've been better. And she's like, is there anything I can do to help? Which, God bless her. She just went through the most harrowing experience, and now she's trying to help other people. And then she asks, like, have you spoken to Anna? And he's like, no, I think that's probably for the best too. And she's like, why? And before he can answer her, she feels like she gets, like a little mosquito bite, something. No, it turns out it's Mick freaking stabbing her with a syringe full of tranquilizer. And he's like, I'm sorry, Misery. And she's thinking to herself, like, why? And then she passes out. So,
dude, I literally, like, in my notes, I just put, like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm screaming. And then I was also just like, how did I not see this coming? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Where I'm like, no, girl, don't get in the car with him. Lock him in your house.
Dude, I swear, listen, I'm not dumb. I just don't pick up on clues very well, apparently. Maybe I'm a little dumb.
I don't think you're dumb. I think sometimes you just are like, maybe aren't like the most observant is all. Those things are not mutually exclusive,
Oh, that's fair and accurate. I accept that.
That's okay, man. Like you just want to think the best of people, and I love that about you. Whereas I'm like, everyone's horrible. What's the catch?
Yes. Oh my God.
Misery is being rudely awoken by somebody who is just shaking the crap out of her and trying to get her to wake up. And then she hears the word bleach.
which is Bleetch. It's the toss up between what, leech and bitch?
Leech, yeah.
Yeah, like she was like, go ahead.
So Paige and I, way back in the day when I first met her, it was like my senior year of high school, and we were horrible and cringe, put together Biffle, which I think was supposed to be like best friend for life, and bitch. Biffle? And called each other Bifflich.
Oh my God, I did not expect that.
And remember what I was telling you earlier about how like I can't really look at any of like my memories on Facebook or Snapchat without wanting to vomit because of how incredibly cringe I was.
Yes, indeed.
So moving on, yeah. This immediately snaps her awake because we saw a flashback before of hers where they had like an argument and Serena was like going to call her either a bitch or a leech and instead mixed the words up. And so that's like their thing. And she's like, oh my God, it's Serena. And there she is. And she realizes she's probably only been out for like an hour or so. And she's looking around and they're in an attic full of bookshelves. Which, I mean, at least nice that you're going to keep your hostage somewhere where they have something to do.
Yeah, for real.
And she's like trying to process, like, where the hell is this place? And how is Serena here? And Serena's like, hello, how lovely of my oldest friend to join me in my humble abode. And Misery's like, I am your only friend.
I love them so much.
Yeah.
I was so happy when they got reunited. Oh my
Very
God.
cute, yeah.
It made me so happy.
So she's like wondering if she's hallucinating, but Serena is very much there and they are very much being held against their will. And Misery's like, do you have any idea how long I've been looking for you? And Serena's like, yeah, probably somewhere around 3 months, 2 weeks, and 4 days, as she starts singing that Brian McKnight song where it's like, what is it, 6 months, 8 days, 12 hours, spit away. And yeah, she looks behind her and there's like tally marks on the bookshelf, like, you know, people do in prison cells. And Misery hugs her and Serena's like, are you like okay? You just voluntarily offered up physical contact. Are you getting therapy? And Misery's like, yeah, listen, I just missed you. Can we not like shut up? And she's been looking for her everywhere. And Serena's like, yeah, well, I've been here. And Misery's like, do you happen to know where here is? And of course, Serena doesn't know, and that there must be a couple floors in the house based on what she's heard from the pipes and such. Putting 2 and 2 together, with Mick being the one to drug her, she assumes that they're probably like at Emery's house, or at least in Ware territory, because at this point, you know, that's what we have to go on.
Which, yikes.
Yeah. And Misery assumes that Serena did in fact find out about Anna and interviewed Thomas and then was abducted. And Serena's like, oh, how did you know? And tells her that she got abducted on her way to Misery's apartment. They had that fight and then she was like coming to help Misery with her laundry. And that's when she got nabbed. And Misery tells her how she is now married to a Ware, an alpha Ware, and they've been in search of her, and how Serena snooping into Anna is what led her to being abducted by Emery. And Misery tells her that it was so hard to find her. I was like, oh. And then Serena admits that she wasn't really sure that Misery would even look for her after the fight that they got into, because they said some pretty shitty stuff to each other, to be fair. And that she was...
Yeah, she called her like the husk of a person, and that she was just like not living her life. Yeah.
I was like, yikes. She's like, I thought maybe you would have just been done with me, and that it's been on her mind a lot. And Misery is confused, and she's like, dude, I didn't even know that that was an option.
It is so cute. Yeah, so she like didn't even consider that they were gonna stop being friends. Like that wasn't even something that crossed her mind. Like it was just so
wholesome,
sweet.
very sweet.
Yes, like it was, oh God, I love their friendship. It was so cute.
It is very cute. So they catch up a little bit and they start putting together a plan. Serena's like, maybe if I distract the guards, you can hypnotize one of them. And Misery's like, this is not a good idea. But Serena's like, do you want to get out of here or not? Like, I'd like to go spend some more time with Sylvester. And Misery's like, who? And Serena's like, my cat. Please tell me you didn't let him die. And Misery's like, so like, no, but about that. His name is Sparkles now, and he's pretty attached to Liliana Moreland. And before they can finish the conversation, it gets interrupted by a knock at the door, and Serena just like jumps into action. They haven't concluded that they're going with this plan, but she's decided that they are. Serena tells the guard that Misery is sick from the poison that they gave her. Something is like horribly wrong with her eyes. And Misery goes up to the door and sees the eyes of a wereguard and is like, look, see? And she's trying and failing to thrall him. Which he ends up getting pretty grumpy about that she got like a little bit of a hold on him, but not enough. And he goes to grab for her throat, but Serena, with her Spider-Man reflexes, grabs his hand and tells him to unlock the door. And he's like, fuck no. And then she just starts breaking shit.
Yeah, she just like breaks his thumb and she's just like, I'm going to do this every time you tell me no. And I'm like, okay, girl, damn.
And he finally agrees and they lock him up in the room because apparently he's like a little bit weakened from the thrall, so they're able to like get him in there and trapped. Okay, so they're out of the room, they're standing in the hallway, there's a door at the other end, and they go through it, and we're shook. There is a world-altering thing that is happening now as they realize they are not, in fact, in Ware territory. They look down to see like a ton of stairs, and it dawns on them that they're in the Nest, which, if you remember from the beginning of the book, is like the vampire skyscraper.
Yeah, where everything is, and it's like, excuse me, what? Did you see this coming? Did you think they would be in the Nest?
I thought that her dad had something to do with it.
I did not think that her daddy had anything to do with it. Honestly.
Wow. There was one point where in the very beginning, when he was asking about Serena, he's like, yeah, so has your, is your little friend back home and safe? And then blamed it on her and Owen's stuff being monitored, like their communications being
Oh,
monitored. I was
yeah.
like,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
sus. And then like we got further and further into it, and I'm like, okay, maybe, yeah. And then we didn't hear enough about Emery for me to like really be super suspicious of her. Like everything she did was like pretty, like they were like blowing up schools and stuff. It
Yeah,
just
like
didn't
she was
seem like they were smart enough to orchestrate this kind of plan. So
right.
yeah, I had suspicions. I didn't know that they were going to be holding them in the nest though. This was a
Yeah, it was
reveal for me
crazy.
too.
Yeah, they like described it as like when they got out of their cell door, like, and they closed the door, that the door just blended in completely with the wall. Like you wouldn't have even known it was there. So it's just like, what the hell? Like they were okay.
Yeah, scary. So they make it down a flight of stairs and get stopped by Vanya, which is the head of her dad's guard, and she's smiling at them like a smug bleach and and says, I'm gonna need you to come with me one last time, Misery.
So Vanya takes Serena and Misery to her father's office because, surprise, her father is the asshole. And I'm not that shocked. Like, I knew from the moment that he like told her to smile at her wedding that he was the one. Like, the second that you tell a woman to smile, you are the asshole, period. Like, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely never came off as like a genuinely good-hearted person.
Yeah, definitely not. That was not the vibes we were getting from Daddy Dearest. And the old shit-ass where Mick is standing beside him because her dad kidnapped his son and like threatened to kill him if he didn't help. Misery is like, you could have went to Low, and Mick just says that like he wouldn't have been able to do anything, and her father's like, hey, let's focus on me. And he gives her a direct quote that may as well be from my dad, saying like, you're a never-ending source of disappointment, Misery. It's a joke. It's kind of true, but it's a joke.
Your dad loves you and is nice.
Anyway, so her dad, like a 90s anime supervillain, starts monologuing for the next 10 fucking episodes. And he just spills some piping hot tea all over everybody. That he's been bribing and like mind screwing the Governor Davenport like the whole time he was in office, and that he's low-key been like orchestrating attacks between like the humans and the wares, so they keep hating each other and they won't form any kind of alliance. And then the most shocking reveal of all, he found out about a baby human were hybrid that was born. And of course we're like, yeah, right, it's Liliana. But nay, he actually heard about this child like over 2 decades ago from Governor Davenport, and plot twist, it's Serena. Misery is shooketh to her loins by this revelation, and at this point, Serena is just crying, which, fair, I guess.
You're being held captive. You've been held captive for months. I imagine, emotions.
She's not having
a
good day. Yeah, she needs like a piping hot girl dinner and a bath.
You say not having a good day. Bitch hasn't had a good quarter. Like,
yeah. So basically, her creep-ass father admits that Serena had no idea about her heritage initially, and he kept an eye on her through her childhood by pairing her with Misery, because he's like, I don't know where to stick her. I guess I'll just stick her with my other kid that I sent to go live with the humans. And after the collateral period, Serena grew up. And, she didn't really have any interest in Ware, so he was like, I guess everything's fine. But then she began poking her snoot around the Human Ware Bureau, looking for answers about who her parents were, and randomly, disappearing for a few days at a time. Eventually, he put together that those disappearances were linked to the full moon. I guess she's just going out and wooing her little butt cheeks off. And Serena's like, yeah, the Shakira song. Yeah. Serena tells him that he don't know shit. And he's like, actually, homegirl, I know everything. I spied on you.
A little bit of shit.
Yeah. I know a modicum of shit, thank you. And I learned all of it from spying on you and also thralling you. You told me everything I needed to know. And among Serena telling him about the changes that were happening to her body regarding her Ware heritage, she also told him about Thomas Jalakalakalus and how he got that werewoman pregnant, but he didn't believe it, which is Anna's mom. But during his time at the Human Ware Bureau where he worked, he found a picture of Anna and her mom. And this set him down the rabbit hole of trying to find answers because he like brought it to Governor Davenport's attention and was like, oh my God, I think I nutted in this lady and made a baby. I don't know what's going on. Shouldn't have been possible, but here we are. Definitely not going to pay her child support, but I want to know about this kid. This obviously worried the governor. And he's like, okay, well, to get him to shut up, I'm just going to give him a higher paying job in the government, and he's just going to stop asking questions. But that did not work. That just did not seem like a solid plan in the first place.
It doesn't make any sense. Yes, so we're going to give him better clearance and more money.
Yeah, that'll do it. So instead of it working, he just keeps diving deeper into it and wouldn't drop it and started making a lot of noise. And Misery's father could not be having all that. So he thralled the governor and was like, hey, girl, you know all that money you've been embezzling? He's going to tell. He's a little snitch. You better do something about it. The governor has him killed. Great.
Of all the things to do to get somebody to be quiet about you embezzling, murder? We jump straight to murder.
Right. Like, why couldn't we do that trope where they, like, drug him, stick him in a hotel room, and then, like, while he's drugged, they have somebody, like, peg him, and they take a bunch of pictures, and they're like, if you talk, we're gonna post these all over the internet. Like,
oh my God.
That would be better than dying, would it not? I don't know.
I mean, I guess, and he might have an awakening and decide that he loves being pegged. So
I mean, I'm just out here, I'm just trying to offer the more humanitarian options for everybody involved.
Did you mean humane?
Yeah, humane, humanitarian, whatever.
I don't know if that gives me humanitarian vibes.
Anyway, he also was pulling strings to make the Wares believe that it was Emery behind the kidnapping, claiming that he needed to keep both Anna and Serena hidden because they're dangerous and they could unite the two species. Heaven for fucking bid we have peace on Earth. And he's like, I wouldn't have killed them. I just like would have kept them locked away forever and studied them. I'm not a monster. And
just a creep.
Yeah. And Misery points out that he still tried to kill Liliana. And he's like, is that what you think I was trying to do, girl? I was trying to kill Liliana. But before she can even process what he's saying, in comes Lo. And he is bound and Owen is behind him, walking him in. And he's looking like a smug little shit. And Lo's like, well, I guess you had a plan all along. And to everyone's surprise, he actually admits that no. He tried to have a plan of thralling Lo multiple times, but it didn't work. And so he was like, well, I was going to abduct your sister, and that also didn't work. So I just decided to abduct Misery. And then he thanks Owen, and he's like, oh, thanks for this. This is a proof of your loyalty. Misery is like, this slimy little shit. Is he betraying us right now? Like, what the hell? And I honestly fully believe that it was possible that he might have been. I was like, oh my gosh, like, is he also going to betray her? I mean, everybody else has screwed her over at this point. Why would he be any different? Yeah. I was so hoping he wouldn't, but
I was really reluctant to think that whole heart-to-heart that they had was all bullshit. I'm like, no, it can't be.
Surely not, right? Surely not. So Lo responds like, hey, you're wrong. Misery is not going to give up Anna just because you're holding her over. She's not going to push for that. And her dad is like, well, a month ago I would have agreed, but stinky ass Mick over here has told me all sorts of fun things about mates, and it seems that Misery is finally useful for something after all. I'm like, you're such a dick. And Misery's clueless ass jumps in to be like, haha, checkmate, daddy-o. We aren't even mates. Tell him, Lo. And Lo's like,
about that.
Yeah. He just like looks at her. He's all sexy and sad. And she's just like, say something.
He's just like, oh, honey.
Yeah, he's just still sexy and still sad and just doesn't say anything. And her father is like over this. He's like looking at sexy, sad, sad ass. And he's looking at Misery and he's just like, enough. And he just vampire yeets over to her, has a knife to her throat and is like, okay, I'm over the games. I have let out my monologue. We've been here for 35 years. I would like your sister now. I'm not going to kill her. Like I said, I'm just going to keep her. And if you don't give me her, I'm going to kill Misery. And it's like, okay, you, sir, need a nap. You need something. Maybe you need to get laid. I don't know, but you have problems. And Misery is like, don't do it. He's bluffing. And her dad's like, you sure about that, baby doll? I did try to have you killed. If that idiot Mick didn't botch the dose, it would have worked. And so we found out why she reacted to the peanut butter. What a douche. And for the good of vampires, I won't hesitate. Suck my asshole.
I hate when people try and do shitty things and then like justify it, but like, it's for the greater good.
Yeah, sure it is, girl. So Misery is doom spiraling at this point, and her thoughts like, oh my god, I'm gonna die, he needs to live, blah blah, these things are happening. But then Serena uses their secret language, speaking all funky, and everybody's like, what the hell is this girl saying? Like, did we just break her? Like, is this the moment?
Is she having a stroke?
Yeah, like, is this it? Like, do you smell toast, sweetheart? And she's like, you know, she tells her, she's like, oh hey, your father's wrong, you know, about my ability to shift. And out of the corner of Misery's eyes, she sees her nails get super long, stiletto-like, and she's just like, oh shit. And then she looks to Lo and she says, quote, Lo, you are the best thing that ever happened to me, and I would never ask you to put Anna before me. And if you ever put someone else before her, I'd love you a little less. But when you see her next, since I probably won't, will you give her a message from me? Tell her that she's as annoying as Sparkles, and that thing she isn't able to do, she shouldn't be sad about it because she'll grow into it. And she'll definitely be able to do it by the time she's 25 or so. And he's just like, huh? Are you also having a stroke? Like, what the hell? Yeah. And then it clicks because he like looks over to Serena, like kind of sees her nails, and then she nods. And he's like, okay. And then he just says, now. And Owen like shoots forward super fast, and Lo's restraints have like come off because I guess he like cut them really fast. And then both he and Serena turn into wolf babies, and they just start ripping people to shreds. It's all bloody and crazy, and yeah, yay.
Yeah. I wonder if they got cut or if he just wasn't secured at all, because obviously at this point we know that Owen is on their side.
Yeah, that's true.
I also love how fast you flopped on Mick when the whole book, you're like, sweet little baby, perfect angel Mick who could never do anything wrong.
Sweet little baby old man who I would bake bread for and give him back scratches, Mick. Yeah, no, fuck him. How dare he do that bullshit? Have you seen how hot Lo is? You really think he can't handle some shit? He's got a massive dong. He's got a huge pack. You think he can't handle just another
big
problem?
Old knot.
A big old knot. Like, come on.
Oh my god. Okay, so after the confrontation comes to a close, Misery's hanging on the stairwell, and she's like, how did I never wonder about what happened to Ware's clothes when they shifted? Because she's just watching Serena in her wolf form munching down on Vanya's throat with just like a pink crop top hanging off of her.
Yeah. I'm like, damn, trauma is a hell of a drug. Like, it's like, of all the things happening in that blood-filled room, she's like, damn, that's so crazy that their clothes are like still on. Like, oh my god.
little disturbing. And Alex, who is of course no longer afraid of her in this very convenient time, is making fun of her for it. And then Owen comes up and grabs her. He pulls her off to the side and he like gives her the lowdown on what's happening. He's like, Serena's with Juno. She hasn't quite learned how to shift back into a human yet. And girl, I saw your face when we walked in and you thought I fucked you, didn't you? And she's like, I mean, like, what the fuck was I supposed to think? You came in with my husband in like shackles.
Yeah.
And turns out that was all Lo's idea. So Owen called Lo like an hour after they had left the like her old apartment, and they found the footage, and it showed that Mick was there. And so Lo lost his shit because he's like, oh my god, I literally just sent that old fuck to go pick up my wife. Yeah, no, and here we are. So the Wares were tracking the governor already and knew that he had called her father, their father, hers and Owen's. So Lo told Owen to call their father as well and tell him that Lo called him for help and he captured him instead and wanted to bring him in. So they've got like this whole, you know, little super secret plan. And they agreed to not fuck each other over, Lo and Misery. And they go back into their father's office where he is blindfolded. He's got headphones on, full sensory deprivation. And she and Lo are like checking with each other, like, are you okay? And they, of course, they both lie about it because how could literally anybody be okay after this?
Yeah, look at their father. Also, I wonder what music they have playing in the headphones, if any. Just start playing something horrendous. Rebecca Black's Friday. Just straight back to 2005.
the Monster Mash.
Yeah.
She's like looking over at her dad and she feels nothing. She's like, she doesn't feel bad for him. She's not really even angry at this point, just kind of numb.
Because like, why would you? At that point, you're just like, dude, man, why did I even bother? This is why I stayed away from you my whole life. It was all of my instincts were correct. Get fucked.
I mean, it's not like he was ever a good dad, so it's like just one thing after another. She's like, yeah, it's pretty par for the course for this asshole. So Owen takes off their dad's blindfold and the headphones, and the first thing this motherfucker says is, I would do it all again.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. He sounds like a fucking like a villain in Scooby-Doo when they unmask them, and he's like, it would have worked out if it wasn't for you meddling kids and dogs. And
dude, Owen's quote to him though, like, killed me. I was screaming. I was like, yes, screw you, dude.
Yeah, so Owen hits him with, okay, that's fair enough. But what I want you to know is that as I take over your place on the council, I will work hard to undo every shitty little thing you've built over the last few decades. I'm going to broker alliances with the Wares and the humans that won't just benefit us. I'm going to do everything I can to facilitate truces between them. And when this area is at peace and the vampire's influence is reduced to near insignificance, I'm going to take your fucking ashes and scatter them where the borders and the entry points used to be so that the Wares and humans and vampires can step over them without even realizing it. Daddy.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, Owen.
Yes, seriously. I was like, oh my God, finally, she actually has somebody on her side and he's just as vicious. I love it.
Yeah, well, finally somebody in her family on her side, because she's had no, you know.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, no, it's nice to know that her brother actually isn't garbage.
Yeah.
So then he's like, Misery, you got anything you want to add to that? And she's like, no, I think that about covers it. And so they blindfold him and put the headphones on him again. And then Owen asks Misery if she wants to take their father's place on the council. He's like, people aren't going to like it. They're probably going to be kind of pissed about it, but it's your choice. Dad kind of took that away from you. And she's like, thanks. But honestly, fuck the vampire.
Which, same. After being treated like that, why would you want a job like ruling them or anything like that? I would be like,
working with a council full of people that hate you. No, thank you.
I'm going back to the lake house so I can get some blurred in a knot. Get away from me.
Oh my God. So she asks if Owen was being serious about creating an alliance and brokering peace and all that other stuff he said. And he's like, yeah. Wasn't just making a dramatic monologue for no reason. And she asks a few more questions, wants to make sure Anna's safe, which she is. Their dad didn't know where Anna was. She asks what's going to happen to Mick, and that's up to Lo. And then Lo is like, you still haven't told us what to do with your father. And she's like, I don't care. Do whatever you want with him. And unless it's absolutely necessary, don't ever tell me about it.
I love that. I love that she didn't even say anything to him. She didn't even bother giving him a response. And she doesn't even want to know what's happening to him. She doesn't give a shit.
She has wiped her hands. Yeah. So she sleeps in her childhood room that day with Serena. And when they wake up, they have this sweet little heart-to-heart. And Misery's like, this is unnecessary. We were always going to stay friends. I just don't understand why you didn't tell me what was going on. And Serena was like, yeah, I mean, first I thought I was going crazy. And then I was like pretty sure you were going to hate me because I thought all vampires hated Wares. And she says that when she was captured, she still couldn't shift. And she was so worried the whole time that Misery would hate her after their fight and she would never get to fix it. And then in the last 3 months, she'd spent a lot of time trying to shift and still didn't really know what parts of her were human and what parts of her were where. And then at the end of it, she asked Misery, and I quote, "Can you once again be my only good friend in the fucking world, Bleach?" And Misery responds, "You talk like we ever stopped."
And it's so cute.
It is so cute, but like, God, so cheesy.
It is so cheesy. But at the same time, you know, like you have to think, like, could you imagine if we got into a fight and it was like the worst fight we had ever gotten into, and then one of us just disappeared and we just could not, like, we just had no idea, like, what happened to the other one? Are you kidding me? Like, you would just assume, like, oh my God, I guess she hates me now. Like, where did she go? Like, why wouldn't she have said anything? She would have
I would
said
find
something.
you.
Yeah, I mean, same, because I would not accept a non-answer. I would be like, I would have the vengeance of Liam Neeson just to track your ass down and get answers. Okay? Unacceptable.
Well, I mean, and hopefully your husband would like help me find you too, and like Trent would help you find me.
Yeah, exactly.
At least we have a little more help, but oh
yeah,
my God.
definitely. Oh Lord, don't ever go into journalism. Stay away from that shit. Oh my God. So we're wrapping things up, and over the next 3 days, Misery and Lo don't get any time together. He's busy running back and forth between the territories and having all these closed door meetings with Maddie Garcia, the new human governor, and Owen. She and Serena are once again attached at the hip, spending lots of time together, going on hot girl walks, and Serena's like catching up on all the news from the last 3 months. And at one point, Juno has a talk with Serena about their genetic testing capabilities, and that if Serena wants, they could find out who her parents are, or at least what huddle she comes from. And she's kind of like a little shell-shocked by this, and she just like looks to Misery when she's asked this. It's super unlike her to be indecisive, we hear from like Misery. And Misery's like, well, maybe think about it first. And Serena's like, oh yeah, I'll think about it. She looks like really relieved. So it's touched on that obviously after 3 months of being abducted and held captive with not knowing anything, that's going on, she has not really been herself. And she's like falling asleep at random times, not really able to sleep normally. She's crying a lot. She's really distracted. And one day she mentions that she wonders what it would be like to spend some time with the Wares. And Misery jumps right on this. And she's like, yeah, you're right. We should go be with the Wares. Doesn't that sound so much better? Yeah, let's do that. So she tells Owen that she needs to talk to Lo. And she wants to know where he is. And Owen, who is looking stressy as hell with all these newfound responsibilities, is like, I don't know, girl. Like, he's probably at home. Like, we're done meeting. Like, go there. And Misery's like a little taken aback. And it's like, well, I thought I'd go with him. And Owen's like, well, do you want to? And she's like, well, what about the alliance? And he's just like, it has nothing to do with that. You're free to do whatever you want, girl. Like, come on. And so he says, as of next week, the collateral ceremonies will be completely abolished, and that the Vampire Council let their father get away with a bunch of illegal shit that they're now conveniently pretending they had no idea about. So quite frankly, she gets to do what the hell she wants. So she dips out of the office and decides to retrace her steps. And I guess instead of just, I don't know, being rich in the Vampire Council and asking for a car or taking an Uber, she steals her brother's keys and she takes his car instead. So she grabs the keys, she takes Serena, and they just dip and they fucking yeet over into Were territory, and they just immediately let her in as soon as they face scan her. They're like, oh yeah, we know who you are, girl. Go get your knot. So she drops Serena off with Juno, and they frolic off into the forest together, and she goes home to Lo. And the house is pretty quiet. There's like nobody really there. And she makes her way to her room to find that her things are all boxed up. And she's like trying to keep her emotions in check because, of course, I mean, I would immediately jump to conclusions like,
he's kicking me out.
Yeah, he doesn't love me anymore. Why? Why? But she's like, I'm sure there's a good reason for this, right? And at that moment, Lo comes up behind her and is like, hi. And she returns his greeting and is like, I hope I'm not trespassing. And he's just like, girl, what? This is your home. And so she like just like glosses over that because she like wants to say like, is it? And I'm like, girl, let's be real. Any normal woman would be like, that she would say that. She'd be like, you sure about that? Like, what's going on with these boxes there, sweetheart? But no, she reins it in. She keeps it together. She's got a cool head, okay? She doesn't
How mature of her
emotions. I know, right? She's so together. Jealous. So she tells him that she dropped Serena off with Juno, and she like wonders if it would be okay for Serena and Anna to meet since they're the only two of their kind. And he's like, yeah, for sure. I just want to fill Anna in on what's going on before that happens. But now that can happen since we've dealt with Emery. And they are holding her responsible for different actions taken by the Loyals, including a school that was blown up 3 months ago. But that's all she did. She didn't screw around with anything else. The rest of that was just her dad screwing with them. So he tells her that Mick and his son have been reunited and he just doesn't know what he's going to do with them yet, which that is a super hard decision, honestly. Like, Mick obviously is like a good dude. He wouldn't have done those things if like his son wouldn't have been taken. But at the same time, I'm just like, man.
He could have gone about that in so many better ways.
Yeah, I just feel like a lot of ways could have been better. But I definitely don't think that they should be like killed or like imprisoned for like ever for it. Like, you know, I wish that we knew like what the punishment was going to be for that, but it is super complicated.
I do think I still feel like there's going to be a second one of these.
I really hope there's going to be a second one. It feels like it could continue, honestly. It really does. Like, I would be so interested to see the series continue with how much world building she has done in the city and stuff. Like, I would eat that shit up. So the conversation turns to their relationship, and Lo is like, the fact that you're my mate isn't your problem. I don't want you to make a decision based on that feeling that I can't live without you. And she's like, are you stupid? Like, I love you. Like, that has nothing to do with the mating bond. What the shit? Can you just accept that? And then she goes on this long spiel about how she can love her stupid were-husband if she wants. And so he should unpack her shit. And he's like, oh, like, I'm having the windows changed out for you to be like the ones in the nest. And I packed your stuff so it wouldn't get damaged. And she's like, oh, whoops, my bad. Because if you remember, the windows at the nest are like treated all this crazy types of ways. So like the sunlight can't hurt her or anything. So she could just frolic about the house during the daylight, you know, whenever she wants. And then, of course, we have the grand finale of canoodling with a lot of my mate and his not and rubbing and groaning and liquids, and after that happens they're laying in bed and she wants to take a shower, but like the true territorial dog he is, he's like, no, like, I just pissed all over you, like, if you take a shower you won't smell like me anymore. And she's just like, okay, well then the only thing you can do is just come take a shower with me, and then you can make me smell like you all over again. And that's what they do. And
doesn't that defeat the purpose of taking a shower though? Listen, I don't understand.
I guess, yeah, I mean, you're just gonna shower and then get sweaty again, but I don't know, girl.
Yeah, you're gonna like get nice and clean, and then he's gonna power wash your insides with his weird dick.
With his for whatever reason, when it was first explained to me, like the imagery that was in my head was like it inflating and him being like, look, I can float away with it. Like, oh, it's so freaking gross.
I was getting balloon animal, but
oh yeah, oh gee, like, yeah, can you imagine? He's just like, it balloons up and he's like, look at this, and he starts like twisting it around and makes like a little giraffe. We are children. Oh my god. Like, we are not 30-something-year-old women. We are, in fact, just immature children.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Forever 14.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, also, I feel like this needs to be said before I get in and read the epilogue. I, at one point in either this episode or the last episode, made the joke about how in all of Ali Hazelwood's books, the men are very large and the girls are very small. I want to correct myself because
Misery is a tall bitch.
Yeah, this is the one and only book of hers where the main female character is over 5 foot. Like, she's tall. So,
like, because she mentions that Lo is like barely taller than her, right? Like, or he like is taller than her, but it's like very rare that anybody is taller than her usually.
Yeah,
it's
she
like
could
something to that
play
effect.
For the vampire WNBA. Is wild. Anyways, in the epilogue, everything's very cute. It's from Lo's perspective, and it opens up with, she makes a lot of "you're condemned to a lifetime of misery" jokes. He wasn't sure he liked them at first, but now he's kind of finding them funny, and I'm like, yeah, that seems pretty par for the course.
Yeah, that's some me energy. That's some shit I would do. Yeah. Self-deprecating humor is, that's my jam.
Yeah. So then they're like having a sweet moment, hanging up a picture in Anna's room that he drew for her. It's a Sparkles Godzilla hybrid that's like destroying the Hollywood sign, but instead it says Liliana. And he's genuinely really happy and thinks about their future a lot, which increases his heart rate to a point where Misery is curious as to what's going on. Like, he's going into cardiac arrest, and he doesn't say anything about it. And then a car rolls up with Anna and Cohen, and they have a sweet reunion. And when Cohen steps through the door, he like has to double take when he sees Serena, and then he's like, well, I'm fucked. And Lo understands pretty quickly and has the thought, this is probably going to be an issue. And that right there is why I think there's going to be a second one. I think it's going to be,
like between Serena and Cohen.
Yeah.
I still want more of like Misery and Lo though. I mean, like if she could do like a double thing, because she could do like the continuation of like Misery and Lo's relationship while having like the beginning of Serena and
what else is there
Cohen's.
for us to hear about in their relationship? I bet it'll be like,
more things, the trials and tribulations of being in a relationship. Okay,
I would be okay with it being something like how Sarah J. Maas did A Court of Silver Flames. There's like a lot of other romance series that focus on separate couples, but they're still in the same universe. So you hear a little bit about what's going on in the other couple's life, but you're focusing on, I would be cool with.
Okay, I would be fine with that, because I was definitely not looking forward to A Court of Silver Flames, and then I read it and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I was like so reluctant to want to enjoy this, but then it slapped. God, I love Cassian so much.
Same. Cassian is daddy.
Yeah, he do be. That is it. This book is amazing. You should read it. I mean, you just listened to basically the whole thing, but definitely still read it. You need all of the in-depth snarky deets, okay? Because
also we didn't give
Misery has a lot.
Yeah, we didn't give you the full,
it's
all the detailed,
not the full tea. We gave you like, we never go in depth to the sex scenes, because like, what are we supposed to like be in depth with? Well, they're first on the wall, then the bed, then the floor, and there's like certain things happening and certain things are being said. I could not repeat the things that are being said. Okay, I would keep my shit together. Yeah,
I'd be giggling.
It would be a struggle. Yeah, I would also be giggling. But anywho, as usual, thank you all so much for joining us. Hope you enjoyed another episode. We love all of your faces. Be sure to like, subscribe, and all that diddly do. And we will see you all in the next one. Bye.
Bye.